Hello, and welcome to the latest ISPA Insights video. I'm Andrew Kernahan, Head of Public Affairs at ISPA, and this is our latest in a series of interviews we're conducting with the providers and companies driving forward the booming broadband industry. Today, we're focusing on value-added services and how they can help altnets and ISPs to compete against some of the more established providers, shall we call them. And I'm very pleased today to be joined by Shan, who's the Chief Commercial Officer at Netgem. Netgem provide TV and Wi-Fi as a service to ISPs and altnets. They power TalkTalk's new 4K TV service, as well as a number of providers in the challenger space in altnets, including Brawband. From Brawband, Dave Munro is joining us. He's Director of Product. Brawband are a distinctly Scottish full fibre ISP, utilising CityFibre's infrastructure, and as well as providing full fibre broadband, they offer triple play services, including VoIP and television, which we will touch on today. So before we jump into the discussion around how you guys work together, a question for you, David. Before we go into the idea of new triple play, how does an altnet such as yours evaluate what's relevant as a product and service to offer to customers? What do you see as core and what can wait?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Andrew. So I think for ourselves as a new provider, kind of got to look at seeing what's going to stop us getting new connections in, because we've obviously got our own targets that we want to hit in terms of getting fibre connections into customers. So we have to evaluate what things might be a barrier to getting new customers on board. So we've done some market research before the concept of even broadband and finding out things from customers, what would prevent them in signing up with us. So things like not having a TV service or not being able to take their existing landline over or their telephone number even. Those sorts of things definitely have to be considered. I guess we then have to look at what our competitors are doing. So Brawband, we operate 100% exclusively using CityFibre infrastructure, and CityFibre, as the name probably suggests, tend to operate in cities, and there tends to be a lot of competition from the tier ones there. So we have to take a look at what they're doing with their product offering and make sure that we can match it, and make sure that we can get a fair share of the customers and basically not give our customers a reason not to come with us, basically.
And that must be quite challenging for a relatively new market entrant. How have you managed to cut through that and be able to compete? How have Netgem helped you do that?
I guess with their product offering that they give us with the TV and the Wi-Fi, the mesh Wi-Fi. So the TV in particular, I think that's quite a strong, or one of the sort of main objections to potentially getting customers on board is they wouldn't want to lose the TV service they might have had elsewhere. So being able to offer a TV service at a reasonable price, Netgem's certainly been able to help us in that respect. The Wi-Fi mesh, again, being able to offer that product when you're delivering a fibre to the home service, which can offer up to 900 meg of bandwidth, to be able to offer a Wi-Fi mesh product at an affordable price, it certainly helps.
Yeah, I think that affordability is key, particularly nowadays. And I suppose it allows you just to focus on what you do best, which is connecting customers and providing a good quality, fast broadband service.
Exactly that. Yeah, we don't need to worry too much about productizing the TV service or the mesh. It's kind of a lot of the hard work has been done by the team at Netgem. We can put our own spin on it. We can talk about that later, but yeah, we don't need to go into too much detail about productizing it. A lot of that has been done by the team at Netgem. So yeah, we thank them for that.
And Shan, does this chime with what you hear from other operators in the sector?
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. I think it's fair to say we in this market, ISPs and altnets are our favored route to market for TV and Wi-Fi, and we speak to all ISPs, from the ones who just got their funding and are still putting together their plans to start building their network, all the way through to the more established, mature altnets, and even the tier ones like TalkTalk who you mentioned. And there isn't a single ISP in this range who is not either just about to launch or thinking of launching a whole home Wi-Fi mesh proposition. And that's quite obvious why. I mean, it is the case for all ISPs, but even more so for the altnets. David was mentioning the 900 meg broadband fiber. It's a way to bring this promise to life, because of course customers do need some education in the same way that the altnets educate customers around the benefit of fiber to the home as opposed to fake fiber with copper. There is also some education to be done around Wi-Fi mesh and the fact that, unlike kind of some preconceived ideas that Wi-Fi mesh would be for very large homes, we realize more and more it is not the case. Our first ISP partner to launch Wi-Fi mesh, called Super Wi-Fi, internet. He was installing actually luxury flats in Manchester, not massive castles. And it is a service that more and more people need because of the materials on the walls and the fact that they sometimes block the Wi-Fi. And therefore, so what for the altnet? Well, it means that there is a need to bring Wi-Fi to the masses, to everyone, and that's probably not achieved best by selling a one-off, expensive, high-tech device, but having a more of a service proposition that can be sold, like the guys at Brawband are doing for £5 a month. Or less, and therefore you reach mass adoption. That's the customer need, if you like, product approach. But then there is what David said, which is the competition, of course, especially for altnets and ISPs that are competing in towns and cities where they are shoulder to shoulder with the tier ones, with the BTs, Virgin Media, Sky, PlusNet, TalkTalk. There is a need to compete at this level, which is why we've developed this super Wi-Fi proposition, which is meant to be mass market, 2 simple pods, 1 app that is the same for TV and for Wi-Fi, and features that have been selected to be mass market. Nothing super geeky, techy. It's more like, I've got a 10-year-old daughter. I don't want the Kindle tablet to be plugged to the Wi-Fi after 9 p.m. I can just set it up. It is those main use cases that speak to everybody in the street, not just the techies amongst us. And then finally, there is a dashboard control center that we call Guru, which is really helpful for the ISPs to have the view and the control of the households on their network, and to be able to anticipate and solve Wi-Fi issues better.
Yes, thank you, Shan. I think that trying to make it non-technical for an ordinary consumer is really important as full fibre services become rolled out more widely across the country. And just on that point, David, I mean, the market for full fibre has grown significantly in recent years, particularly in the consumer space, but it's dominated by established household names still. How does Netgem help you compete, but also monetize the opportunity that you've got from City Fibre?
Yeah, so I guess with the TV product, there's the whole brand association. So there's a lot of brands available on there, such as Amazon Prime, Premier Sports, which for us is key. We're a predominantly Scottish ISP, and Premier Sports has a heavy focus on Scottish. So that does help us. There's also things like Rakuten on there, which has a lot of the latest movies coming out. So for us to be able to do a lot of marketing and associate ourselves with some of the content that's provided on that TV platform, it just helps build that trust with the end consumer, basically. As a new entrant to the market, I think it's definitely needed for us to be able to put our name alongside some of the names that are provided on the Netgem TV offering. So in that respect, Netgem can help us out. I guess with the wireless mesh offering, it gives us the opportunity to wrap it up into a bundle as such, so we can offer like the TV, the mesh, and our broadband, position that as a bundle. And it's got its own USPs. Like there's one app that we can use to manage both the TV product and the Wi-Fi product, so the end customer can manage it all via the one app. I guess that comes back to that thing of sort of making it less technical and making it easier for the consumer, so they can do everything they need to from that one app. And then I guess just from a supplier rationalization point of view as well, we don't need to go to lots of different vendors to get all these different products. We can just go to Netgem, and they've got a good understanding of the market, having worked with various other different ISPs before ourselves. They can help us in that respect, but we just need to go to them and they can help us out. Yeah, we don't need lots of different agreements with lots of different people.
I also believe that Netgem allow you to personalise their services, and I believe you've done something different with their super Wi-Fi. Take us through that, and how do you think the take-up is, or how do you expect the take-up, will be with your customer base?
Yeah, I think they brand it as super Wi-Fi. We've given it a different twist. As it, you've touched on, we're a predominantly Scottish ISP. A lot of the content that we put out, if you take a look at the website, it's definitely got a Scottish twist to it. So we've branded the super Wi-Fi product as Brawboost to sit alongside the other Braw products that we have in our range. So we have Brawband, we have Brawphone and Brawbox. So yeah, it seemed logical for us to brand the Wi-Fi product along the same theme and call it Brawboost. And it's just, for us, it gives us a chance to put our own spin in it and I guess describe it how it would make sense to our customers. And I think that's what we've tried. We've talked about making it less technical. We've tried to do that in our wording of it and make it relatable to issues that they would come across as an end customer. and just keep the content very light-hearted and, like I say, relatable to issues that they would face as an end user.
And actually, that's an interesting point, because what we're seeing is a lot of, whether it's altnets or infrastructure players like CityFibre, building regionally or locally in towns and smaller cities. That localization point is going to be key. How does Netgem allow you to be a more or market to a Scottish customer base, perhaps, say, than just a national one?
I guess it's really relevant for us as a Scottish ISP. There's sort of, only certain markets that we can, or certain towns and cities we can go to where CityFibre have rolled out the network there. But Netgem certainly helps us there with their TV offer in particular. So they offer Premier Sports, which has a heavy focus on Scottish League Cup and Scottish Cup matches, which helps us market to our Scottish customers. I mean, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a Rangers v Celtic game on Premier Sports, and it was exclusively on Premier Sports. Obviously, the fan base of those two clubs is pretty large. So for us to be able to have Premier Sports within our arsenal to go and market to those customers when we're rolling out a network in Glasgow and Renfrewshire is extremely useful.
And Shan, just back to you. Do you see similar benefits from this sort of new triple play offer and other approaches in the market?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the number one benefit is, like we said before, mass market, large scale adoption, moving away from super Wi-Fi or TV being a premium add-on, but being something that can be attached to most of the sales. And that's why I quite like the idea of the new triple play, because it's I come from a telco background as well, and 10 years ago in 2012 I was at EE doing home broadband and TV and phone propositions and pricing. And I remember every time there was a new price plan that I was building, the assumptions for voice were not like voice would be maybe 5-10%. If we push it, it was broadband and calls was supposed to be 70-75% of the sales, and broadband only in very specific cases. And the reason for that, of course, is yes, the extra ARPU, extra margin, but also overall value of the customer and not missing sales, of course, like David was saying before. Now, what is the new equivalent for that? And we believe it is Wi-Fi for the reasons we've said before. And the recipe is the same. It's only one ingredient that has changed there. So that's the theory. What we wanted to do before launching in full scale in the UK last year is to test the theory. And we have an ISP business in France, in Netgem Group, with a reasonably large scale. And we launched this super Wi-Fi product first, at ours, basically in France, at our ISP business. And with a combination of aggressive price point, but also bundling, which I know the guys at Bro are doing as well. We did exceeded actually slightly the 50% bar. So more than 1 in 2 sales of fiber, whether to new or upgrading customers, was done with super Wi-Fi. And that's great because it is adding not just the extra revenue, but more stickiness. Of course, the reason to do triple play is around that. There is a reason why all tier 1 ISPs measure very closely the number of services adopted, the so-called RGUs, revenue generating units, and it is because they contribute to the lifetime value of the customers. And that's what I would say to conclude. That resonates a lot with what we've heard last week in Connected North Manchester, where there was a lot of debate, gossip around consolidation of the altnet. Clearly a trendy topic at the moment. When will it take place, and so on? And valuation of the altnet is at the heart of it. We heard at Connected North investors like Gresham House publicly saying that now is the time to not just pass homes, but also connect homes. So whether it is from your investors or from your partners such as CityFibre, there is clearly a more intensity put towards connecting homes and connecting at the right level with the right number of services, so that the ISPs can truly valorize to the maximum their customer base, which, as we know, is measured by the number of services of customers as much as EBITDA multipliers and other KPIs in the market. So we believe that having a simple Wi-Fi mesh offering that the ISPs such as Bro can still make it feel like they're putting in their flavor with Bro Boost, for example. It is a very easy and cost-effective way for the altnets and ISPs like Brawband to compete better, connect more, and ultimately maximize the value of their customer base.
Thank you, Shan. And what do you say to people that some providers say, all we need to do is put in the broadband connection? That's all we do. We put in the pipe. We let others monetize it. What's your response to that point?
Well, my response is it's a good way to make volumes, but it's not a good way to maximize your customer base. We know, everybody who's been in the broadband industry knows, especially in areas that are competitive. Maybe it's less the case in very hard to reach areas. But this is a good way to attract the switchers in the market who are going after the minimum period of the contract to start shopping elsewhere. And at this point, if the customer stays on average 10 year, 15 months, it's not the same story as if they are on a longer contract with multiple services, with their whole streaming life around your service, not just the fiber to the home, but the fiber to the rooms with the pods here and there and streaming your entertainment on their mobile and on their TV in the home. It's not the same impact. So, and many of the ISPs who have been running altnet, who have been running for now 12, 15 months are getting to the stage of maturity, turn to us because they start seeing their first issues of churners, not necessarily the right quality of customers, and difficulty to upgrade customers in life as well.
And Dave, just back to you, I know the team behind Brawband have lots and lots of years of experience in the sector, not just a new entrant in the sort of traditional sense. What are Netgem like to work with in terms of taking forward the new venture you guys are working on?
Well, I think, the first point I make is they are extremely good value for money. So, when we first started the whole broadband venture, I don't think we ever dreamed that we would be even daring to go near a TV product. I think we just thought, well, like Shan said, we'll put in the connections and let someone else monetize it. But yeah, I think we heard a presentation that Netgem had done about their TV offering, and it sort of piqued the interest, and we started digging a bit further with them, and we realized the opportunity there with both the TV product and the Wi-Fi mesh that they had to offer. We had looked at different Wi-Fi mesh products previously, which, while they looked very good on paper and technically, were perhaps priced us out of the market a bit as a new entrant. But yeah, the Netgem offering is technically sound and a good price for what it is. I can't fault the Netgem team at all from the whole process of onboarding, getting us up and running. Like I say, they've got a lot of experience in this market with working with other ISPs, so they made that whole process quite plain sailing. They are helpful throughout the life cycle. So they'll come to us with promotions that we wouldn't necessarily have thought about ourselves, but they'll come in with an Easter promotion, for example, and say, we're thinking of doing this. Is this something that you can market to your customers? And yeah, it just helps. It gives us another excuse to speak to our customers, and they help us putting content together in conjunction with our content providers, so it keeps things current and whatnot. So yeah, the team at Netgem are really good. They are very helpful. They are doing lots of things to help us drive sales, and they've put forward a lot of good suggestions as well in terms of things that we could be doing, which we've taken on board as well. So yeah, don't want to big them up too much, but it has been a very good relationship.
That's very kind of you to say, David, and it's my chance. We have talked about service and product. It's maybe where I can remind that our service is a managed service, and accompanying our ISP partners, like in the way you described very kindly, David, is our job. And also you've been too humble. Bro is more than good. Bro is bro.
That's a nice way to finish, I think. So unless there are any other final points you guys would like to make, I'd like to thank you both for your time today. The latest instalment of the ISPA Insights video, as I said at the start, the market is booming. It's really taking off, and we are reaching that maturity point where I think new services, new innovations are really starting to come in. Be really excited to see where the sector goes this year and beyond. So thank you both for joining me.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, David.
Thanks.